Welcome to Wellington International Airport, the primary international airport serving the capital city of New Zealand. Today, I'm going to be flying with Air New Zealand Link on an ATR 72 bound for Hamilton. Prior to the inaugural Jetstar flight from Hamilton to Sydney, I found myself in the city of Wellington, and there's really only one practical way to get from Wellington to Hamilton, and that is of course to fly with Air New Zealand, unless you feel like making the 7-hour drive. You might be wondering, how is it possible that I paid nothing for this flight? After all, nothing comes free, especially in today's economy. I'll reveal the answer at the end of this video, so stick around and find out. Wellington is the capital city of the Pacific nation of New Zealand, located at the far south of the North Island, nestled between the Cook Strait and the Rimutaka Range, near the geographic centre of the country. The city itself is also home to the New Zealand Parliament and is famous for its on average 173 days of strong winds, which has earned the city the nickname Windy Wellington. Serving the city is, of course, Wellington International Airport, which sits on the Rongotai Isthmus, or the small piece of land connecting the Miramar Peninsula and the mainland. Despite being a relatively small airport, the airport itself is the third busiest in the entire country and serves 23 destinations in New Zealand, Australia and other Pacific nations. Check-in for Air New Zealand can be found on the far left-hand side of the building and is the only airline that uses this area. Much like Jetstar, Air New Zealand has numerous self-service kiosks instead of check-in counters. The kiosks themselves are very easy to use and navigate. However, my only fault with them is that they do not print good quality boarding passes, rather these flimsy paper ones. The bag drop-off points are located in the front of the kiosks, and much like the kiosks themselves, they are also very easy to use, with the whole process taking only a matter of seconds to complete. After scanning my bag off to Hamilton, I quickly turned to my right to proceed to the gate. The security situation in New Zealand is rather unique, especially for its regional flights, as it is basically non-existent. According to aviation.gov.nz, regional flights with aircraft that have less than 90 seats do not undergo security screening, as there is no legal requirement to do so. The security process is mandated, however, for passenger planes with more than 90 seats, which is managed by AVSEC. Soon the departures board changed, and the boarding call was announced, so I quickly proceeded to the gate, in preparation for today's flight. Boarding this morning commenced on time at Gate 12. As I walked down the pathway to the regional aircraft apron, I caught a glimpse of today's aircraft that's waiting on stand and is also going to take me north to Hamilton, which today is an ATR 72-600, registered as Zulu Kilo Mike Victor Zulu. Construction of this airframe was completed at ATR's final assembly line in Toulouse, France, in July of 2019. She was delivered brand new to Air New Zealand later the same month, making this aircraft 6 years old. Air New Zealand's ATR 72-600s all have the exact same configuration, with 68 seats in the standard 2-2 layout. This morning I shall be seated in 4 Delta on the right hand side of the aircraft, or the starboard side. Air New Zealand has opted for the Gevin Echo Prestige Slimline seat for their ATRs, which feature 30.7 inches or 78 centimeters of pitch and 16.8 inches or 42 centimeters of width. There is a standard tray table that folds down and extends towards you. In the seat back pocket you'll find a safety card, magazine and an air sickness bag. Above are individual reading lights, air vents and a flight attendant call button. Soon the engines fired up on stand 12, 3 minutes behind our scheduled departure time.
Fly without often. Headphones connected to boost and all electronic devices must be removed for the safety briefing. Look for the safety card in your seat pocket. Please read this as it contains important safety information. Seats behind. To prepare for takeoff, stay your tray table or lower your armrest and ensure your seat is upright. Window shades must be open for departure and finally ensure your seatbelt is fully fastened. We do thank you for your attention and we hope you
We taxied to runway 16 via Bravo, Bravo 5, Alpha and Alpha 1. Now please enjoy this unedited takeoff. After takeoff, we made a sweeping left-hand turn over the Cook Strait, which set up our northerly course for Hamilton. Flight time today is 1 hour, covering a distance of 275 miles or 442 kilometers, cruising at 19,000 feet. Immediately after takeoff, the right-hand side of the aircraft were treated to fantastic views of the southern suburbs of Wellington, such as Island Bay, and I was also able to see the Cook Strait Ferry, and just in the distance was the South Island, with the mountains barely visible. Later, we flew over Lower Hutt, the northernmost town from Wellington, and Oriental Bay. This also happens to be the home to one of my very good mates. Shortly after this, the cabin crew commenced the in-flight service, and I was handed a cup of hot coffee with milk and sugar, as well as 2 small squares of fudge, one being sea salt caramel and the other being plain. As we continued up the western coastline, down below was the relatively large town of Wanganui, home to the famous 1899 built paddle steamer PS Waimarie. As the weather today was absolutely perfect for flying, I was clearly able to see the largest volcano in New Zealand, Mount Ruapehu, as well as the nearby Lake Taupo. On board the aircraft is a single bathroom located at the rear next to the galley. Inside is everything you would typically come to expect for Air New Zealand, including scented hand soap. Soon we commenced our descent into Hamilton. As the aircraft slowly fell back to Earth and the cabin crew prepared the aircraft for arrival, I gazed out at the green hills of the Northern Island, which looked like something straight out of the old Windows background and the Lord of the Rings movies. So, how much did I pay for this one-way flight? Well, as I have flown Air New Zealand a countless number of times, I have accumulated well over $300 in air points, which is Air New Zealand's equivalent to Qantas points, and as such I paid this $180 flight all in air points, meaning it effectively costed me nothing. I find the concept of Air New Zealand's air points to be much better than Qantas points, as you can actually see the value in your points being translated into virtual money, and not relying on if reward seats are available. And speaking of which, these Qantas points are now worth even less due to the change in Qantas's policy and flights costing even more points. It's also worth noting that this virtual money cannot be exchanged for cash. In order to line up the aircraft for landing, we made a very sweeping right-hand turn directly over Hamilton, which gave me an absolutely fantastic view of the city below. Now please enjoy this unedited landing. After landing, we taxied back to the terminal via Alpha 1. We pulled onto stand 2 north, 2 minutes ahead of our scheduled arrival time. As I stepped off the aircraft, I thanked the great crew before turning my attention away to my next flight, which will take me back to Australia. So, how did Air New Zealand do today? Well, as always, let's start from the beginning. The check-in experience at Wellington was very easy and quick, exactly what you would expect for Air New Zealand. On board, the seat was comfy enough for this short 1-hour flight, and is not really showing any wear and tear. The food served was light and refreshing. The sweetness from the fudge paired very well with the bitter coffee. My favourite was definitely the salted caramel one. And lastly, the crew on board were professional yet welcoming, having big warm smiles and a keen attention to detail. So would I recommend you to fly with Air New Zealand? Well, considering this is the only option between Wellington and Hamilton, there isn't much choice in the matter, but regardless, I think they were very much worth it. So yeah, I would definitely recommend Air New Zealand. Hopefully next time I'll get to fly to Queenstown. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment and subscribe, and make sure you check out my other videos if you want to see more. And I have said this before, but I now have a Discord server. Feel free to join. The link can be found at the top of the description. And as always, feel free to press the notification button too, as it will let you know whenever I upload, which happens every Friday at 8 PM Sydney time. And I hope to see you all again in the next one. Mā te wā!